What's up there, guys? Welcome to another Train Sim Classic video. Man, it feels like it's been a long-ass time. I think my last Train Sim Classic video was over a month ago. But here we are. We're going to look at the Feather River Canyon Enhanced Premium Scenario Pack. And that is a gigantic word burger for a name of a scenario pack with a couple of locomotives. Now, welcome back, of course, to the land of the famed Western Pacific Railroad, a former Class 1 railroad operational 1903 to 1982, eventually absorbed into the Union Pacific, of course. Now, the WP was the immediate rival to the Southern Pacific between Utah and NorCal. WP had numerous locos over its lifetime, of which in this video we're going to be focusing on the GE U30B, which I believe they had 21, just over 20 were owned by the WP, as well as the EMD GP35, of which 22 were owned by the WP. Now, this pack is by High Iron Simulations, of course. It's going to cost you $14.99, and it requires the Enhanced Route, which is $39.99, the FP7 California Zephyr Loco add-on, which is $19.99. It contains 10 scenarios, 2 locos, a GP35 and U30B, which of course both were in that route add-on by default, but they are considered new here because they've got a couple of coats of paint. So the GP35 is of course by DTM, naturally, as is, you know, a lot of these locos within the high iron packs. And the U30B, a lot of you guys will recognize from Dovetail Games from many years ago, essentially given to them to use. Well then, guys, here is the pack in question that we're going to be looking at today, the Feather River Canyon Enhanced Premium Scenario Pack. All the descriptive words make it seem a little less unique, if I'm honest. There's a whole lot going on with the name of this, but this is nothing new for creator and Train Sim Classic, third-party dev, High Iron Simulations, which is a conglomeration of a bunch of different devs that kind of fall under his High Iron Simulations banner now. So there is nothing new in lieu of a lot of these kind of cash grabby packs. I mean, just look at these over the years. A lot of them are simply scenario packs, which by and large are not very realistic. If you look up older timetables, they're kind of just a bit ridiculous. The wrong kinds of locomotives pulling the wrong kinds of trains. A lot of chances where, you know, 400 locomotives will be thrown on like a 1,000 ton 50 car train. Just a whole lot of ridiculousness. So we've gotten the scenario packs over the years, and then we'll have the classic packs or the retro packs, which are essentially locomotives by DTM that were made almost 17 centuries ago and then kind of just repainted and chopped up here and there and sold for a premium price tag. So really nothing new, generally, except for a couple of new repaints and things like that. And, you know, it's not cheap. I mean, adding up all these together, that's a lot of money. So the Feather River Canyon Enhanced came out not too long ago. I want to say about 6 months ago. Here it is right here. So yeah, it was February 2024. So yeah, not that far ago, actually. And essentially this was taken from the original Feather River Canyon by Dovetail Games, which is now, I think, $24.99, 25 bucks. Whereas this is a full price of $39.99, and it's basically just 30 new miles from, what is it, Quincy Junction to Portola, I think. Whereas the original did not go that far. So they did add on to that, and they, you know, they said they fixed a few things here and there. I made a video about that. If you'd like to go and take a look at that, please do, covering the route itself, but it's not very glowing. As per usual with a lot of high iron and DTM stuff in my eyes. I feel like the bar could definitely be set higher. So there's just a whole lot of packs. And of course with this one, this enhanced pack, as they require the FP7 California Zephyr, which is like 20 bucks normally. Sure, this stuff usually goes on sale. The route itself, so you're already looking at like 60 bucks. And then this pack's another 15, 75 bucks. It adds up. And, you know, it does seem a bit casheth grabberson. Here we are looking at 2 of the locomotives that come within this pack. Now, normally I could give a fat rip about these scenario packs, because like I said, they're generally not very realistic, and they're kind of just weak. You hardly ever see any, additional traffic that's not sitting waiting for you. They're just very bare bones. Sadly, there's not a lot of people that make North American scenarios for North American content, so that's where High Iron Simulations kind of takes the cake on that, because, well, they're pretty much the only game in town, sadly. There are a few creators that make some that are a lot more realistic, but they generally require a lot more add-on, a lot of which is free. You just got to do some hunting and installing and things like that. But, so you get a U30B and a GP35. Now on the far left is the first GP35 by DTM for the Western Pacific Railroad, which he released as an independent add-on from, geez, I want to say like 2016, 2017. So this thing right here, that is basically this thing and this thing, just a tiny, tiny bit different. We'll go over that in just a minute. So this right here is part of this pack, the super duper premium enhanced radical awesome bro word burger pack. So that's going to come with this right here. And it's also going to come with the dark, or these are the rebuilds anyway, U30B in the promo green and orange. So those are the two you're going to get. But if you already have the Feather River Canyon Enhanced Route, the new one that's not new, I mean, we won't get into that again, but that's going to come with this, which is the GE U30B, of course, U-boats, very Chad, by Dovetail Games. So Dovetail Games made this thing here. And so they basically gave High Iron and DTM, free reign to do with what they want, because of course, Dovetail Games is still getting money out of this and all the packs that they release naturally. So they're kind of, they're very buddy, palm greasing between High Iron and Dovetail Games. So always keep that in mind as well. So you're going to get the one on the left as part of the route anyway. So this is just a repaint, the one that's part of this pack. And then of course the GP35 I totally forgot about. You're going to get it as well as part of the Feather River Canyon Enhanced. That thing right there, the grayscale locomotive, very, very dusty looking. You're going to get that. So that came with the route on its own. So this, which comes with this enhancement pack, is just a repaint of that, barring a few things, which of course we'll go over in due time. So, a lot of stuff. So the original Feather River Canyon route came with the GE U30B, right? And then it came with an F7. So, granted, the new one, the Feather River Canyon Enhanced, which we're on right now, of course, this is the this is Portola, right? I always forget. Yeah, it's Portola. So this is the far eastern end of the map. Which, there are parts of this route that do look good. I feel like they kind of step back in a lot of areas as well, but again, we're not really here to go over the route. That was the whole thing back in February. We're just here for the pack. And like I said, I'm not normally into scenario packs, but these came with locomotives, so it's something new. With High Iron, you've generally got a retro pack, which is generally re-released locomotives with new skins and some rolling stock with new skins. And then you've got scenario packs, which are just scenarios, just like the name. And I guess this is a new phase of releasing reskinned old locomotives and scenarios. So that's why I bit the bullet and wanted to take a look at this, and that's why we are here today. So guys, the GP35, these things on the right are not new. By DTM, I think the one on the far right came out in 2017, but it's also featured in like every single High Iron Simulation route built by DTM, even though it falls under the HIS banner. So you're going to get the GP35 in routes like Saluda Grade, the Santa Fe Classic Pack, for Raton Pass and Arizona Divide, essentially. I think it came with scenarios for that. Western Maryland Pack, or Retro Pack, the Hanover Sub, or that was for the Hanover Sub, the Chessie System Retro Pack, and the B&O Mountain Sub. So these things have been turned out like a $2, lady of the night, we'll say. We'll keep it nice. And they've never been good. Nothing has ever been upgraded, really. The only thing that has changed, which we'll look at right this moment, God, that sound is not great. I turned it down on the mixer. I'm having to scream because it's very loud to me. Hope it's not too loud to you guys. The textures. So basically, the only thing that has happened is the textures or the paint have been changed. Whereas I feel like, to be fair, the older variant, this right here, the color popped a bit better. Mind you, a lot of DTM stuff has that extreme kind of shine or glazed or glossiness or alpha, which looked terrible. And so I guess he finally got enough feedback saying, hey, this does not look great, that he changed it to this kind of powdery, dried up grayscale look where there's almost no color. So there's no like happy medium anywhere. It's just one or the other. To be fair, he's trying something different, so we'll give him that, of course, which is nice, but there's still a lot of other things that need to be fixed. So it's basically just this thing, which is old as hell, so there's truly, really nothing new here. As far as the U30, again, just the paint. Dovetail Games did the paint on this, and honestly, the weathering and all that looked pretty good. The font looked pretty good. The numbers did not look all that great. Some other things did not look that great. Whereas this one here, done by DTM, is basically the same old thing. You know, same song and dance, just with a different lick of paint on it, or texture, and, you know, number boards, and, well, actually number boards aren't different, but the numbers and the font. So it's just literally nothing different there, as far as I can tell so far. Man, just sitting here listening to this cacophony of bad sound is comical. It's just making me want to laugh. We'll go over the easy and less offensive two of the crews. So again, the one on the left is the original. You're going to get that with the Feather River Canyon or the Feather River Canyon Enhanced. The one on the right is part of this pack and basically a painted version of the one on the left. Now, these U30Bs are post-1972 rebuilds and renumbers. They were renumbered, I want to say, 3051 to 3071. But they eventually went through some rebuilds. Different ones got different paints and things like that. Now, there are a few things. So, as you can see, the Mars light here is painted, or the casing over it, the blister. Whereas here, it is not. So that's one of those things that could honestly be either or. If you hunt down photos, you know, through Pinterest, Flickr, whatever the hell, the internets, the Googles, you'll find pictures of some of the newer painted post rebuilds, which are not painted. And I guess it's because it's brand new, and eventually they painted this part on the front over the Mars light. Who knows? But I've seen photos of some painted, some not. So I don't know if we can really get all over that one. To be honest, the one thing I can say is the walkways look a little funky. Now they were painted for Western Pacific or by Western Pacific to kind of match the locomotive itself. I don't know if that's supposed to be painted, but it looks just kind of like a black diamond plate or tread to me. Whereas essentially that's like a little bit different. As you can tell, he swapped out the tread pattern. It might actually be the same, just like different coloring, I guess. I can't tell. They both look pretty bad, to be honest. But for Dovetail Games, this thing was not all that bad. I will be 100% honest, you know, for its age and all that. But anyway, yeah, the U30B is honestly not too shabby. That's, you know, those aren't the terrible ones. Let's go ahead and hop in here. We'll take a look, of course. Get rid of all of that. It's by and large going to be the same on the interior. This control stand is like the blackest, the deepest, darkest part of space where there is no light emitted. You cannot see anything at all. The interior of this, honestly, to me, still looks okay. This is pretty passable, even though it's 2024. Let's be honest, it's almost 10 years on. Whereas we'll hop in the actual true DTM unit over there, and you'll be like, that's new? And I'll be like, yes, sadly, it is. But this is the inside of the U30. Not much has changed here. You've got the stand up here. How do you change the Mars? I'm not sure how you change the Mars light on this one. Let's see if all the The doodads still work. The window's still open. I don't believe there's any kind of sound occlusion or whatever the fancy term is. I can't ever remember it, so I'll just say the same thing over and over every time. Watch your step. Better watch it. Open that door again, no change. Look at the diamond plating on that, man. Huge. Huge. Alright, we'll get over here. Let's go ahead and test the horn. It is the same exact horn, and it sounds terrible. Now, exterior-wise, it's not terrible. It's still pretty bad, but let's be real. It's 2024. The stuff needs to start being stepped up. This is like scraping the barrel at this point. It's starting to become literally depressing at the amount or lack of content for North American stuff in Train Sim Classic. It really is. It feels like it's kind of slowly just disappearing, retracting back into the shadows like a turtle's head going back into its damn shell. It's just disappearing, and this is what we're left with. It is quite sad. Hopefully that's not the case. We'll get some quality content here soon for North American Train Sim, but honestly the interior doesn't look bad. It's almost 10 years old now. You know, it's Dovetail Games. I don't see anything in here that he would have changed. By he, I mean DTM and High Iron, who they gave this loco model to use. Let's run it up here. Just see if anything's different. Yeah, so the sounds are pretty much exactly the same, and to be fair, they weren't terrible to begin with, but that is in Notch 8, guys, and there we go. There's that lurch. There's that lurch as soon as I pulled the power off. That was Notch 8. It felt like it was kind of dumbed down a little bit as far as power feel-wise, just so it doesn't shoot off the line like a slot car, but nothing really truly new there. It's still just a U30B by Dovetail Games. Let's try the bell. I don't remember if... I think that's the original bell from the one back there on the left. So let's go ahead and go back there and check. Yeah, horn, bell the same. Yeah, it is 1-to-1. Totally same in here. All right, so that's the U30B. You know, really nothing truly interesting or new. This sound is all terribly loud. Let's click on this one first. So here's the very old kind of photo texture looking U30B. At least it wasn't super shiny. Either that or I have something done to my game that I don't remember I have, kind of removing that horrible alpha slick look. You know, again, back in his day, this thing didn't look terrible. He did change a lot of things as far as like the trucks and the axles and the coloring and things like that. So that does look better. I will give it that. Same, you know, with the fuel tank here. It's so super duper clean. Whereas here it's been weathered as well. You can see some streaking and things like that. I feel like the mirrors actually look worse. That is just a bright white void. If they could be darkened and kind of hazed, it wouldn't look as ridiculous, whereas that one doesn't look too much worse than that. I guess that's the best thing I can say about it. But again, this thing wasn't horrible when it came out. It just, you know, there's kind of no depth. It looks like some paper mache, just very thin model. It's hard to use your words, Sean. Yeah, it's hard to describe. Let's get this thing out of here though, because it's super loud. Having 3 of these things around is just too much. Look at her go. Alright, oh my god, that noise. Let's check the horn on this real quick. It's got a super delay to it. It's just like, whoa. So here's the interior of the OG from 2017. Let's check that bell. Got that old DTM bell. DTM bell gonna DTM bell. Alright, hopefully I can make it back over here. Alright, so this is the new one. And there are quite a few things that I've noticed that are a bit incorrecto as far as this thing. Now, things could have changed over the months or year or so that these were rebuilt, and the ones that were repainted, so on and so forth. But the GP35s, these are supposed to be post-1965, or their third order of these, numbering 3013 through 3022. Now, the biggest thing is the walkway. You'll see it's kind of a gray. The diamond plating, that should most definitely be painted as well. It is not. It's a green color. These units were also built with air conditioners, so when they were rebuilt, I think they were Morrison Knudsen or Knudsen or whatever you guys want to call it. So it would have had an air conditioner vent or unit on the top of the cab there, of course. This one does not. It looks like it's got the appropriate horn and bell appendage. And actually, speaking of bell, there's no bell on this sumbitch. So it should be there, yes? Well, I guess it is. It's just kind of hidden. See, that's the problem. You can't even tell it's there. It's like this... It's just this weird kind of model. It looks like something from, like, 2003 or something. It just looks very ridiculous. You can't even see it. So it is there. Holy crap, I didn't think it was there. Look at it like that. Can you tell a bell is there? You can't. That's the answer. The real answer is you can't. But I guess it is. You just can't see it for crap. But anyway. So yeah, that thing, the little appendage, the horn is on, just to kind of raise it up, is there. The air conditioner would have gone right behind it. It is not there. The back light, I'm pretty sure they changed these, because this old thing here, that's some old school stuff right there. That single dome light, that would have been changed to the dual. Kind of like the BN unit over here, so I don't know why he didn't just take that and throw them on there. Again, time permitting, when these things were rebuilt and repainted, there might have been a while that it didn't have the double, and you know, it's one of those things, but by and large it should have been a double, and it is not. The number board font is wrong, particularly if you look at like the zeros in the font. It is incorrect and it looks a bit funny. The F denoting the front of the locomotive should be painted orange. It is not. It's painted white. Let's see. Oh, for starters, the nose blister for the gyro or the Mars looks absolutely awful. It's got that very thin kind of baby's first model. You can see right through the casing of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is 2024, guys, and this pack is $15. And you know, it's like, if you're gonna keep selling us the same crap, at least actually update it some, fix some things, because that does not look good, man. That looks absolutely shitty, if I'm honest. Sorry to use such harsh language, but it looks absolutely shitty. And that should not be flying in 2024. So yeah, that's not good. The numbers on the side in real life, on the fireman and the engineer side, those would have been a bit lower as well. They kind of seem to sit right in the middle, which they would not have been in real life. The nose, the WP on the nose would have been a bit higher as well, and possibly a bit larger. So again, it just looks off. As with a lot of this stuff, you'll notice the plate, the bit on the lower plate, I think the WP by and large got rid of the kind of holster, the pockets down there for it. It would have just been the flat front plate, but you can tell it's a totally different color. It looks ridiculous. You can see this actual hose here chopping right through said plate. The couplers still look garbo. Still got these giant kind of paper thin wafer holes in the decking. Just a lot of things. It's missing a lot of warnings and decals along the sill, you know, the frame here. Now the font does look good, I'll give it that. The font does look pretty good. It looks fairly appropriate. It's about the right size and about the right area. The only thing that is not right is it's missing paint over some of the letters where the hinges are, which, you know, would not have been like that in real life. They would have taken great care to make sure that was correct. Another thing is that this chain game. Now, it's not a big deal, but let's get over Baby's first art project with the chain game, and let's get some either make it look like 3D, or let's get some actual 3D chain in there. Hell, TBT is doing it with chain. Okay, that's about all they've been doing good lately as far as the model, but come on, man, this paper mache looking chain on there just is no bueno. Overall, the look, the coloring looks fairly spot on to what these would have been, I guess. So that does look nice. It's not as kind of crusty looking as the BN unit over here. You know, so that's fairly appropriate. The headlights, he did get the headlights right, so that would have been kind of like before most modern locomotives. Diesel electrics went to these vertical style doubles, because you can see on the BN unit over here, for example, looks totally different than the way these look. You know, it's kind of got that round backing plate on there, which the lights are recessed into. So that was done correct, so we'll give them that, of course. And a lot of these as well should have beacon lights, if I am not mistaken. So the BN has a beacon light, but it wouldn't have quite looked like the BN beacon light, or bacon light. If you know, you know. DTM, boy oh boy. So yeah, it would have been a bit smaller, a little kind of flat-headed on the top, and less look like a minion like that does. But there's really nothing truly remarkable about it. Like, I feel like visually, exterior-wise, it's definitely better for DTM, and how, you know, things have looked over the years from DTM could still be way, way better. I'm sure there's all kinds of crazy, you know, model intricacies that I wouldn't notice so much, because I don't know shit about modeling, honestly. I just know that I think what looks nice and what looks doesn't, and a lot of the time this stuff falls into the doesn't category. You know, a lot of it just looks very cheap and rushed, and you'll see like a lot of just bad edging. And speaking of edging, I don't see edge wear apocalypse on these, so I think he dialed back the edge wear, which is nice. You can still use a little edging in some areas, but, you know, not have it look like it tumbled down Mount Everest its entire life if Mount Everest was made out of concrete. You know, one of those things. But overall, it looks okay. The shading looks off. Like, there's no real depth to the color, and they don't ever kind of emit color back. The way these locomotives are textured and built, they always seem like they kind of absorb the color or the sunlight. Trying to use my words correctly here. So they're always just this kind of muted look where they just absorb all light and color, and it's just kind of weird. I feel like this guy is still doing things like it's, you know, 2013, and, you know, we need to step it up, man. Let's hop inside this thing. It still looks like 1757 in here, just before the Revolution. Doors open. I mean, look at these window models, man. Good God. Like the handle. Notable gap in there. I think an attempt was made on the texturing of the interior. I feel like it looks a little bit different in here. Like the wall. A little bit more grimy. The floor is just like it doesn't exist. There's just really no depth. Hot dog handles. Hot dog! As usual. Gauges don't look great. Let's try the horn. It's not bad, and I've been saying that from day one. Since DTM has been making locomotives and putting these horns on said locomotives. I first remember that thing from the GP30. I think I had the B&O GP30. And that was the first horn when I was just playing vanilla Train Sim Classic. I was like, man, that actually sounds pretty good. And I feel like it still does. It's old. The sound quality is not good. It's got that kind of pop and crackle when you start it, and in the end and the loop and all that. It's just not very clean. But it's definitely one of the better sounds. Yeah, that's honestly not a bad sound. Let's check the bell. Got that old DTM bell. Let's go ahead and pull up here. Let's peel off the brakes. Ooh, it's got that ear rappingly sound hiss to it. It's like a dog whistle sound if you were a dog. Oh my god. It's like scraping pointed titanium fingernails on glass. That's what that sounds like. It sounds terrible. I've never heard what that sounds like, but I would like to imagine that's what it would sound like. You saw the thing just totally lurch forward there in notch one. I mean, this sumbitch just took off. They don't load up quite right. This is how all the DTM stuff has pretty much always been. Let's check out the headlights. And to be fair again, now this has happened probably over the last year and a half or two. He's kind of changed his headlight game, so it doesn't have those extreme crazy flares, although you can still see it there, that weird starburst, which, you know, I feel like is just coded into DTM stuff. He literally copies and pastes a lot of this stuff and will do 5 to 10 minutes of work changing a few things here and there. But the color is a bit better, although it still kind of looks like a piss yellow, if I'm honest. There's the rear. Go back to the front. Let's turn the gyra. Let's gyrate the gyra. Yeah, so, I mean, it's really not a whole lot going on there with that one either. Let's check the markers out. And the number boards, of course. There's our markers. Holy hell, guys, I turned those on and it cut my frame rate in half. 25 frames per second. I had 60 flat. What on earth, man? This dude, I bet you some damn deck lights, the foot lights, platform lights. Jesus, I got it right on the third time. Yeah, it was. I turned them off. Frame rate pretty much went back up. Oh my god, man. This stuff, this same kind of stuff. If you've been around Train Sim Classic as long as I have, and probably a lot longer, a lot of you a lot longer than I have even, none of this is new. It reoccurs. It's very sad. This stuff needs to start being fixed. The North American content is definitely in a state of decay. We still have a lot of great modders that just love putting out some fantastic content, as well as third-party devs that do the same, but they're few and far between now, and they are highly cherished, at least by me. I don't know about some of you guys. I'm pretty sure it would be the case. But yeah, there's just nothing going on here. Again, it's missing a radio antenna, so it would have had a radio antenna on there akin to the U30B. You know, the fan grill's the same. They're just that paper mache thin. Just look at that. Look at that. I've seen stuff in Roblox that looks better than that. I was going to say open rails, but hell, man, the way things have been going for North American content, I've been thinking of jumping, because open rails, at least, you know, models look pretty good, sounds are generally pretty good, physics are generally pretty good. You know, the routes look a bit ass, but let's be honest, a lot of the North American stuff in Train Sim Classic getting too shining. And I think that's going to do it, guys. I've spent about as much time as I want to spend looking at these things. That is our premium super duper 2 locomotive reskin pack by High Iron Simulations, by DTM within High Iron Simulations for Train Sim Classic. for 15 bucks. Now, as usual, if you don't have all this stuff, you don't have the original Feather River Canyon, this might be of some value, but trust, I would not buy it full price. Don't do like I have done for you to see, for you the world to have seen this pack. It will, I promise you, it will be on sale in probably less than 6 months. And then another 6 months, it'll be half price, and on it goes. I don't recommend. I'm not even going to look at the scenarios because they're just completely uninteresting. None of them sound good. And only 3 of the scenarios use these 2, air quote, new locomotives. So, you know, it's just 10 scenarios and 2 repaints. But I think that's going to do it. As always, thanks for watching and hanging out, guys. Especially if you made it this far. I'll catch you next time. Take care.